Alrighty, welcome into Freshly Pressed On, the Smooth Breakfast. It's a smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. It's 31 minutes past 7 a.m. on a Wednesday. We're smack dab in the middle of the working week. Yes, indeed. The days just keep on marching on. It's the day after the holiday, surprise holiday that uh, we had yesterday to in the memory of former President Muhammadu Buhari. So a lot of people didn't go to work yesterday. Some people actually did go to work and found out there was a holiday afterward. I can't even begin to imagine how ticked off they would have been. But anyways, hope you had a restful one and you are back at work or ready to head to work to do what you need to do. My name is Ayokunmi, and it's going to be another great session this morning where we get to take a look at the news stories, analysis, and your thoughts and contributions as well. So please do join us on WhatsApp as you always do. The number is 0809 444 0981. That is the WhatsApp number. We're also on YouTube. You can find us at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. All right. Joining me to take a look at the stories. It's Wednesday, so you already know. And if you don't know, it's going to be Devoe, Okorie, and of course, Lakunle Yusuf. Very good morning to you, Lakunle. Lakunle, you're muted in case you don't know. Okay, there we are.
Good morning, Ayo. It's very interesting to see you without your face cap for the first time. Then July 13th, like I said, very early on that day, I didn't know whether I had a premonition. If you check my Twitter account about 6:30 a.m., I said July 13th with exclamation marks. And woe and behold, before the day ran out, we've had two big people pass on. It was Wole Soyinka's birthday, and Chelsea won the Club World Cup.
You just have to bring that up. You just have to bring that up.
Yeah, I had to. So it was a heavy, heavy day. And when we were in primary school, by now our teachers would have been forming a curriculum around that date. I hope they still do that for these children.
All right, Devoe, good morning to you.
Morning, everybody. Morning, Lakunle. Morning, world, Lagos. New day in a new week. A cool bad health facility.
A cool bad health facility. That is a very, very heavy way to jump into the discussions this morning. And that's exactly where we're going to begin. Stepping into the Daily Trust. Femi Adesina has been speaking. Yes, the former presidential spokesman. Now, he said that former President Muhammadu Buhari may not have survived his health challenges if he had relied solely on Nigerian hospitals for treatment. He made the statement on Tuesday, that's yesterday, during a special coverage in honor of the president. He was responding to criticisms over Buhari's repeated medical trips to the UK while in office. He defended the decision, saying it was a matter of survival. Now, according to him, the UK doctors had been managing Buhari's health before his election in 2015 and were well acquainted with his medical history, making it unwise to change medical teams mid-treatment. So he argued that, that decision to continue the treatment abroad was based on professional expertise and the limitations of Nigeria's healthcare system at the time. I will not say too much on this one. I'll let you do the talking, Devoe.
Okay, this is just how do I call it? Almost a pitiful story, because this is not the first time people are trying to hold executive accountable for foreign trips due to healthcare. It's happened a lot before Buhari. He's not the first, and he won't be the last. Even our current president goes every 3 months for healthcare treatments. Now, first of all, the insult here is that he's telling us it's because to keep him alive, that if he had done it in Nigeria, he would have died long before now. I think that's an insult to Nigerian sensibilities, given the fact that the only reason you go out is because you have not developed your own. History tells us that back in the 70s and the 80s, even the British royals and Saudi royals used to come to Nigeria, especially at the University of Ibadan Teaching Hospital for treatments. I remember seeing my parents' almanacs of the days of UI when foreigners used to trip frequently into local hospitals here. What happened? How all of a sudden did we switch the game from them coming here to us going there?
Right.
Not only have we lost our pride of place, now literally the bulk of resources, manpower in the healthcare system, from doctors to nurses, lab scientists, have left the country in a bid to secure a better life, in a bid to secure better working conditions. So, this is one of the issues that I honestly believe that Nigerian citizens should vote on. If we're ever going to have a change in this, it has to start locally. It means they're going to have to stop public servants from traveling abroad on government money to take care of themselves.
Is that
Why
something that
would
can be
you?
done legally and constitutionally?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nigerian citizens need to vote on this. We need to hold
Right,
our
right, right.
leaders accountable. They need to start the same way the president said when he came in that, okay, he's going to cut down on foreign trips uh, by Nigerian executives. I think they reduced it. They had to take permission. This time we're saying for social services, education, you can't school abroad. For healthcare treatment, you can't get it outside. If we don't start by calling a state of emergency and focusing on our own, how old is Nigeria? Nigeria is, excuse me, Nigeria is an overgrown baby that cannot take care of itself. Nigeria at 45 or 48 is still having its mother have it coming to bath it.
60,
We should be
60,
at 60,
Devoe.
sorry.
Yeah,
We should
60,
be we should be
65 this year. Yeah,
completely ashamed. And the truth is, it's not a matter of talk or pressure. We are going to have to take very desperate measures to ensure that everybody that is involved in this country, you cannot get paid by the nation. You cannot enjoy the benefits of this nation and still
right.
believe that you can take our healthcare services and educational services for granted. Like I said, it was here before. So it's not a case that we're dreaming about something that we can't achieve. We simply have to value our own healthcare, value our own education, and
Right,
ensure that
right, right.
charity begins at home. That's when the change will come. And we must demand for it. It's not something we beg for or we say, please give us better life. No, it must be a do or die affair. No more trips. No more trips. And the truth is, if the leaders or the politicians will not make it an issue, Nigerian people should say it up front. If you're not going to fix healthcare systems, if you're not going to fix education, then we cannot vote for you.
Mm, very important. Thank you for sharing those
And I
thoughts.
quickly drop a line into that also.
All right,
Um,
Lakunle, a line, as you said.
yeah, it may not be legal, right? I don't agree that it should be a legal issue. It should be a moral and ethical issue that anybody who is aspiring to lead this country must say, if I'm asking you to fast today, I will fast yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
But you
You know,
can't
that kind of
enforce
thing.
morality and
And
ethics,
that's why I
can you?
said that's why I said that because legally, can you really force me from stopping my children from going to school abroad as president of Nigeria, particularly for example, if they're already there before I became president? Should I withdraw them? Should I suspend their schooling until I'm done as president? So we would never be able to legalize those things. Alhaji Jakonde did it in Lagos when he became governor. He withdrew his children from private schools and put them in the same public schools like everybody else. He didn't have to legalize it. Some people copied his example and also took their children from private schools and put them in public schools, right? So
Lakunle,
much of the time,
you're talking of a time when things
much of
were
the time,
functioning.
much of the time, leadership and governance for Nigerians or Africans is not so difficult. We always look to the person ahead of us to do a lot of things. It's the same way if governor is coming, he skips red lights. All of us will follow him and skip the red light. But if a governor comes and stops at the red light, even when he's not there the next day, people say, governor stopped there yesterday, so let us stop. So those are the kind of things that it is mental, it is moral, it is ethical. And that's what we need to push, in my opinion.
All right. Shola on WhatsApp says the statement by Femi Adesina is characteristically flippant and careless. He doesn't seem to understand that his statement is self-indicting, saying the healthcare system his former boss oversaw in 8 years is poor. Didn't Vice President Osinbajo use local hospitals? Questions and more questions. I'll take one more here. Bob in Surulere says, once more, Femi Adesina has insulted Nigerians and our collective intelligence. All right, keep those messages coming in on WhatsApp on 0809 444 981. All right, Lakunle, let's talk educational matters, stepping into the vanguard real quick. And this has to do with what's been going on in the University of Calabar, where the Vice Chancellor, Professor Florence Obi, has called for calm and understanding as the institution works to resolve issues affecting the induction of its dentistry graduates following concerns raised by the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria over excess admissions. Professor Obi was speaking at a press briefing held yesterday at the University Council chamber. She addressed growing concerns over the stalled induction of 31 dentistry graduates and clarified widespread misinformation that was circulating on social media. Luckily, what's going on here?
Okay, so the idea is that for every university and a lot of courses, the regulatory or regulation or supervisory agency that oversees that profession has a quota through the NUC for every university. So you most likely will hear it in law, medicine. I don't know if it is enforced in engineering as well, I'm not sure. But medicine, pharmacy, law, because of other things when they leave law school, residency, blah, 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 blah. They limit an availability of spaces for proper training, right? They limit the number. So here, University of Calabar has an annual quota of 10. So over years, the university has ignored this quota and have gone maybe 11, 12, 20, or whatever the number. So now it's time for graduation. When they want to graduate, they'll send their name to Medical and Dental Council for accreditation and whatever. And those ones compare with number that should come from there. You have 10, then you send me a name of 31. So where did the other 21 come from? That's what the issue is. And those ones says you cannot graduate them, we will not induct them because you have not done whatever. Now, we just spoke about laws and whatever. Now, this is a law, whether we like it or not, that you cannot do more than 10. A law that exists in paper. But you see us even ignoring the one that is law, right? So how much more law do we want to put in place to affect these kind of things? And the flip side of it again is that, so if there are 100, we talk about need for more trained medical personnel in Nigeria. Now we are saying 10. That means in 10 years, the maximum dental surgeons that this university can turn out is 100. In 1,000 years, the maximum they can turn out is 1,000. So let's start to think about what we should do different. It is not much to say we are capping it. Okay, we are capping it for this year. By next year, what should we have done so that we can extend the number to 12? The following year, what should we have done to extend it to 20? But nobody is doing all that. We're just comfortable sitting on it must be 10 and no more than 10. How many years ago has University of Calabar been capped at 10? How many years ago has University of Ibadan been capped at 30? How many years ago has College of Medicine Idiaraba been capped at whatever the number is? So what has changed? What have we done different to say we need more medical personnel, so we must increase the number of spaces for this thing? So if we are increasing it, what do we need? We need more lab rooms, we need more cadavers, we need more qualified
equipment
teachers.
and so on and so forth.
Where do we find them? Can we go to Uganda and go and recruit medical teachers? Can we go to Cuba to go and to go and learn. There is a technical aid called that Nigeria is a member that we send Nigerian graduates to other countries to help. Other countries are supposed to send theirs to us as well. These are the kind of things that we need to start to cultivate to make this happen. But we just can't just sit on it is 10, it has to be 10. Now we are putting the lives, the future, the career of 31 young Nigerians in doubt. And this happens all across board. And we're so insensitive about how the way we handle it. It now becomes I am in power, I am enforcing what the law says I should do while I'm on this seat. And the lives of these children are at stake. So I think the MDCN, the NUC, the University of Calabar, the students and the parents should sit in a room and agree. Did they go through the proper training? Was their training enough? Okay, so if you can't graduate them now, is there something that we can do? Maybe an audit course or something to ensure, to certify that they actually did pass and whatever that we need to do. We cannot put the lives of these children on hold because of the inadequacies of our systems.
Something definitely has to be. I mean, a whole 31 graduates who have gone through the system, and just because of some irresponsibility, after spending all those years in medical school, going through the rigors and everything, we're going to be told, oh, you cannot be inducted because uh, those who brought you in did so over the quota and so on and so on. Yes, Lakunle, I agree with you. I mean, instead of always sitting down on the seat of, oh, it's this particular number and that's what it's going to be, how can we ensure that we increase the numbers? Also bearing in mind that we have a serious dearth of medical professionals right now. Now, we don't know if all these new ones are also going to get inducted and leave the country. We don't know. Some might decide they want to stay. Fingers crossed. But we definitely need more in terms of those who are coming through the system. No doubt about that one. All right, let's keep it going here. The Guardian is where we're stepping into. Devoe, I'm bringing this one back to your doorstep. Let's talk power. Now, more than 7 years since Nigeria launched its flagship meter asset provider MAP scheme, energy stakeholders said the chronic metering deficit has barely changed, with millions of households still trapped in estimated billing and inefficiency and entrenched corruption. That sounds familiar, corruption part of things. Stakeholders in the power sector are now demanding that the federal government step back from direct funding or implementing metering rollouts and liberalize the system to enable the private sector-led approach to drive the calls to replicate 2000's telecoms revolution. Devoe, once again, we're hearing calls for the government to step away from these sort of issues and let the private sector actually pick up the slack and keep things moving. But the thing is, over time, have we really seen a huge difference in when the private sector gets involved and when the government actually is the one handling these things? What are your thoughts here?
Yes, basically, this is a particular area within the distribution side of the electricity business that has not been in the full hands of the private sector. As you know, even though the article states that 7 million people are unmetered, I think the figures are far higher than that because as of the last count, there were 13 million customers, of which 20% were the ones that were shifted to Band A. And the only reason they could be shifted to Band A was because they had meters, people who were commercially buoyant. Now, what it meant is that the remaining 10 million, okay, to a large extent, if I go by the 7 million this is showing, do not have meters. And that's why most of the people within the masses get the estimated billing, both either individual homes or even businesses. Now, the claim or the target by the regulatory body is that everyone should be on band A, meaning everyone should have 24/7 supply, therefore pay. But you cannot charge them band A electricity fares if you have not given them meters, okay?
Right, right.
Now, unfortunately, year after year, administration after administration, meter supply has been literally a major hiccup because it's always been in the hands of government in terms of the supply. Finally, they came out with a scheme called MAP scheme, okay, National Mass Metering Program, which some companies were given concession rights. But even at that, the government pumped billions to support those companies to be able to produce meters, which at the end of the day never got produced, or we never saw the bulk of them. And because government was, in quotes, creating some kind of subsidy to have those meters produced, that created another form of slush fund, which at that time, I think even Bart Naji, the well-known power operator, who was Minister of Power at some time, was taken out.
Yeah.
Even after power ministers after him, it was the same issue. Till date, it is still the same issue. So clearly, we should be discussing with the EFCC and the ICPC to be looking into this matter, because what the Association of Power Consumers was saying was that they were urging the government to liberalize the production and the supply of meters, take it out from government, and allow the private sector completely dictate the terms, just like they did with the telco sector, where government was subsidizing telephone provision and yet could not grow the industry because of corruption and bad management. Same thing with refineries, which when government, as you know, has been trying to keep 4 refineries alive for the past 40 years, but ended up swallowing 18 trillion naira without any drop of oil produced as evidence. It's the same case here. So what they're saying is that if the government can liberalize the production and distribution of meters, both local suppliers and even foreign producers can come to play and allow many people to acquire these things. I mean, you know how it is today.
Yeah.
I think a three-phase meter is about I think they officially it's 70,000 naira thereabouts, but you will
I think it's
not
more
buy it
expensive than that. Three phase, I think it's
yeah,
more
you will
expensive
buy
than
it
that.
at a secondary market price of about either 100,000 or even 150,000. And that's even if you can find it at that rate. And if you do find it, you have to go through so much frustration just to be able to acquire one for your house or for your business. So it's you can see how disingenuous and insincere the system has been. So it's a practical solution. We're all for it. Government should remove their hands completely. Maybe use some of that money that they've been pouring into meters to what do you call it? To affect oil, pay for the electricity subsidies that they've been spending about 3 trillion annually on.
All
Because
right.
the
Well,
truth is, no government has shown the level of seriousness and emergency required to actually shift our power businesses from where we currently are to where we should be.
all right. All right. Thank you, Devoe, for sharing that. Let me just sneak a message or two in before I come back to you, Lakunle. This is a message from Ade in Lagos. Let me see here. He says, hold on a moment. Excuse me. Today, remember and compare Abacha and Yaradua. These people did better than Buhari. The indicators are there. Yaradua and Buhari died in foreign hospitals. The same hospitals they couldn't build to take care of their illnesses are the same the president is doing presently in France, continuing in Buhari's legacy. Nigeria didn't get this bad until President Buhari got into power in 2015. 8 wasted years of inflation, insecurity, economic disaster, um, referring cows more than human life. I don't know about that one. And turning the people to beggars and beggars in the midst of plenty. And also, thank you, Adi, for your message. And you saying that I ignore your messages is actually very incorrect. You sent another one here, which I know I took yesterday, the same exact message. So the content of your message will determine whether or not I will take it. So that is up to how you compose said message. But thank you for the message all the same. Jerry says, let's not worry about power. The president's promised to fix it. If not, nobody should vote for him when he comes back asking for votes. Shemodia Saints Ruler says, concerning the medical students, a similar thing happened in my med school. The solution was to write an independent MDCN exam to demonstrate that students that are competent enough to practice in Nigeria. It's the same exam that foreign students write. All right, very interesting there. All right, let me come back to you right now, Lakunle, and about let's talk about some oil-related matters. This is coming out of the Punch. Now, the president of the Dangote Group, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, has said that Nigeria's daily petrol consumption figure is higher than what the country consumes, stressing that the petroleum sector is riddled with corruption. Dangote said the figure was bloated by some individuals for personal gains, especially during the fuel subsidy era. However, while marketers agreed with Dangote on Monday that there is corruption in the petroleum sector, they argue that the daily petrol consumption volume fluctuates and cannot be put at a single figure, saying it should be around 40 million barrels per day. I can walk us through this one real quick.
So anybody who's listened to me once or twice on this program that we've discussed will know where I stand. There is no how, not possible, any time in our history that would have consumed 60 million liters of PMS in one day. That is 60 million liters. That's an average of 33,000 liter trucks leaving Apapa in one day. Does Apapa have the capacity to load 2,000 trucks in one day? If they were, those trucks that block that road leading into Apapa, would it ever happen? Let's start from that one. That is even an unscientific way of judging it. How many cars do we have in Nigeria? Car users that use PMS. How many generators does you consume petrol in a day? So when we look at all of those things, we put them, stack them on each other. There is no how, my honest belief. It may sound ridiculous that we do 60 million liters a day. Having said that, we all know the reason that we are quoting those numbers, because during subsidy, it was just documentation. Nobody was going to physically inspect the tanks to ensure that the number that is on the paper is what is there, right? So I can write any number so that I can get as much money out of the system as I can. So the numbers as quoted by the chief executive of NNDPRA are numbers that are provided for him, and he has to defend it. But here is Alhaji Dangote, a practitioner, a major player, says that the maximum we would ever do is probably like 40 to 46 million liters a day. And that in total for PMS, diesel and aviation fuel, we will not consume more than 106 million liters a day. And that is Dangote refinery will do almost double that number a day. The good news from that statement for me is that if that happens, then there's a possibility of Nigeria earning some forex from the trading of those excess daily production by Dangote Group for Nigeria. However, it's going to happen. So it then comes back to what we ordinarily will say about everybody pays lip service to the word corruption. Everybody knows corruption. But there is a chain. The corruption doesn't happen at one end or one spot of the chain. It happens all across the chain. And those are the things that we need to begin to try to sort out. And as long as we, at least one good thing that the subsidy number has done for us is that it has reduced the lie that we tell ourselves about our consumption of this thing. And then I know that it will get lower as we went along. It's not yet where we want to be, but another thing again is maybe when we have more players who will build refineries just like Alhaji Dangote has done, the numbers will further go lower again. But I want to assume then that where we are today, Alhaji Dangote is promising us that his refinery is enough to produce all of the PMS, diesel, and aviation fuel that we need. Come to think of it, the number should have reduced because of the CNG program that we started about a year and a half ago. Or does that not count? We know the number of people that have converted their PMS-driven engines to CNG. Does it have effect? And
Has
that's
that
what
been
I'm saying.
enough to have a
Exactly.
huge dent?
That's a question that this report didn't indicate, to say that what is the impact of the CNG program on this consumption. No matter what, it should have taken at least 1 million out of 1 million liters per day out of what we consume. I want to assume, but I don't know. We don't know those numbers yet. But shouldn't that be a factor in how much reduction has happened? I don't even believe that the numbers quoted, the 60 quoted by NDFPRA and Alajangote at 40, that is only 20 million liters have been cut off from the subsidy number and the non-subsidy number. So it's good news for us that this has happened. From that perspective, yes, we are paying plenty for it, but it's saving us some money from somewhere else.
All right, thank you, Lakunle. Let me run through your the remaining messages here. Tony Marine Beach says, Femi Adesina has not changed. I thought the spell will fall off him after his departure from Aso Rock. He seems not to regret anything at all. I'll give him a little more, a little time more to draw my conclusions on what he's become as a person after government service. Anyone who describes this country as a version of Animal Farm isn't joking with the truth. Shola says, it should be a legal issue and not a moral issue. How else can you ensure the standardized healthcare facility? This argument is why leaders get encouraged to be poor. Laws are meant to guard behavior. I mean, Shola, it's a function of, can it actually be put into law? There'll be arguments back and forth about that. And if it's possible, hey, anything to take us out of the wilderness we're in right now, to be honest. All right, this is Joseph Mania in Silver State. He says, thank you, Mr. Femi Adesina, for indicting your former principal, past and present administration, that they don't care about health of her citizens. Just imagine saying his principal would have long died if he had been attended to in Nigeria. This means that the elites and politicians should continue medical tourism outside the country while the rest of us make do with what is available here. Onyema from Surulere says, a law can be enacted to prohibit public officers, their children, and their medical treatments from being taken abroad, framing it as a necessary sacrifice for holding public office, just as individuals in corporate roles often make personal sacrifices, such as refraining from using a competitor's product. All right, this is Charles in Festac says, Femi Adesina, Loretta Onoche, Bayo Nonuga, Reno Mokri, Ruben Abati, Sari Dokubo, Garbashu, Joy Bukwe, and so on. These individuals serve their paymasters well at the detriment of the Nigerian populace. This is Ajayelo Lua in Magodo Giari Sherry says, it's preposterous for Mr. Adesina to claim that late President Buhari would have died a long time ago if he had relied on receiving medical treatment in Nigerian hospitals. With statements like this from those in the corridors of power, I wonder how this country will develop. Idemapuza and Surulere says, may God forgive Buhari and rest his soul in peace. Mr. President should prioritize building and equipping our hospitals to world-class standard to stop the embarrassing deaths of our leaders outside our shores. Let Mr. President be patriotic and start treating himself here in Nigeria. Daniel Infestac says, the petroleum cartel in Nigeria is truly more dangerous than the drug cartel, as Dangote said. The resistance to clarity and transparency by the oil marketers is baffling. It's like they want corruption to remain entrenched in the oil sector. And going to YouTube, AB says, the chutzpah of saying that Nigeria's healthcare system is limited because of the individual that wrecked the entire socio-political sphere every time he was a national leader. Andrew Syndrome, anyone? Andrew Syndrome, anyone? All right, we need to call it a morning. Thank you for sending all your messages and keeping it tuned to Freshly Pressed. And thank you so much to you, Lakunle and Devoe, for making it a very, very interesting morning.
Thank you, Ayo, for having me. We'll keep talking about laws and not laws. I just wanted to remind that our listener that laws are made for men and men not for laws. We should not allow law to box us into, when we have too many laws, we get boxed in. There are some things that we need to, in my opinion, that we need to not be fixated about laws on them. I think this issue we discussed this morning is one of them. So everyone, let's have a good day. This week has been a tiring one in terms of the bad news we've had, and we hope that the rest of the week will bring some good news, something to cheer before we end the week as well. Have a
Amen
good
to
day,
that.
Nigerians.
Thank you, Lakunle. Devoe.
All right, thank you. And foreign medical tourism. Hashtag.
Hashtag and foreign medical tourism. I see you on that one. All right. Thank you so much once again. Have a great, great day. And of course, Lagos, keep you tuned to the Smooth Breakfast here on Smooth 98.1. The locker room comes up at 8:15.
Devoe.
Lakunle.